person's beloved.
Yes, yes, yes.
What do you make of that being banned in some circles? What's that about?
I think it's to be expected.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
What do you mean it's to be expected?
It's because, it's like Plato banning the flute in the Republic. The flute was too much for his Republic. He was too obsessed with order and hierarchy, and the flute can get to you in parts of your body that make things a little bit too disorderly. And similarly so with most of the poets, that the banning of a text, is a sign of the power of that text.
And the fear
And
behind
the
it,
fear
right?
that it generates. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we ought to be honest. When Tony wrote The Bluest Eye, which is a powerful text, it was banned at Spelman College.
At Spelman?
At Spelman. That's our beautiful, magnificent black sisters.
Wow.
Because y'all know the story of Bluest Eye. Oh, that hit too deep. That's 1970. This is 50 years ago, you see. But Curtis Mayfield's We're a Winner. They wouldn't play it on any radio stations other than a few black stations. Then there was some black stations that got so scared because it got white management, they wouldn't play We a Winner. Y'all know We a Winner by Curtis? We a winner and never let anybody know.
Keep going.
Oh, if you want a line from Curtis, I can give you one though. Ooh, one of the coldest lines in the history of modern music. He wrote it for a brother named Gene Chandler called Just Be True. He said, I've given you all of me and plan to give even more, baby. You said, now how you gonna give all of you and plan to give even more? And then he goes, with sweet love and affection, and even more's in store, baby. That's kenosis. Giving it all. Intellectually, give it all. Texts, poems, novels, short stories, plays. Eugene O'Neill writing The Iceman Cometh right up here in Northern California in Dow House. And his fourth wife, Carletta, said, I could just hear him crying for hours, writing about those brothers in Harry Hope's saloon. That profound indictment of an empire that thinks that it could gain the world and not lose its soul, he said. And you think of so many examples like that.
But they got banned.
And they got banned because, we cracked vessels. All of us, we got fears. And right now, with the gangsterization of the country, and escalating neo-fascist sensibilities and perceptions and organizations and so forth, that it's predicated on fear. Only immigrants, black folk, brown folk, gay brothers, lesbian sisters, non-binary, Jews, Arabs, whoever it is, Palestinians, whoever it is who've been otherized. And the challenge is how to broaden those moments of interruption.
But that's not where we're going as a country. We're going to narrow. We're going not to broaden. So, which leads me to this question.
Well, we might be broadening the neo-fascist sense.
Well, yeah, different.
That's what I
okay.
was talking
yeah.
about. You see what I mean? Yeah.
But speaking of banning, there's this thing called critical race theory. Everybody thinks they know what that is. Many people are afraid of it, whatever it is.
Absolutely.
What do you think it is?
Well, I was blessed to write the foreword to the text. 1992. I was just talking to my dear sister Kimberly Crenshaw, who of course is a great theorist of intersectionality and really the great founder of it in many ways, a co-founder of it. And the important thing is this, and I was telling the precious students, because your students here are just high quality, man. They really are. That dialogue.
They're the best.
You were there. It was rich.
Yeah.
Very much so. But the point is that, no one school person, no one framework has a monopoly on truth. That's why the anthem of black folk is lift every voice. But it's not lift every echo. That's part of the genius of the Johnson brothers from Jacksonville, Florida. Lift every echo. No, it's lift every voice. Because if you're just extension of an echo chamber, then you're not willing to grow and develop and mature. You see, the education at this grand institution, going all the way back to Sister Mary Hill and those sisters who had the vision to create it, linked to that Church of Nazarene coming down from LA that's focusing on the homeless and the poor, building on that genius again of Hebrew scripture, of that hesed to the orphans and widows and the weak and vulnerable, you see. That you have to learn how to listen to others, and you have to learn how to broaden your perspective. You know, there's a wonderful letter that the great Henry James wrote to the less great Robert Louis Stevenson.
Wait a second. That was awesome. What you just said, that was just hilarious.
No, but I think it's true, too, because Stevenson's a great writer, but he's just not at the same level as Henry James. But the letter was this. In 1901, he says, no theory is kind to us that cheats us of seeing. No theory, you see. Because the splinter in one's own eye is the biggest magnifying glass. That's what Adorno says. It comes out of biblical scripture. Mm-hmm. So critical race theory is simply saying, let's see what America looks like from the vantage point of those who were enslaved for 244 years in the Western Hemisphere, and over 100 years under this glorious Constitution that you all talk about, or at least 80-some years. And there are some glorious things of words on paper, but in practice, pro-slavery until you had to fight a civil war to break the back of the Confederate Army. What does America look like when the Union Army wins the war, but after 1877, when the military troops are withdrawn, white supremacy wins the peace? Why is it that Jefferson Davis, who was the gangster who headed the Confederacy, the violent insurrection to overthrow the U.S. government, resulting in 750,000 precious lives, each life made valued, human beings made in the image of God. Right? How many years does he go to prison? Less than 2. How could that be? How can that be? You got black folk now get caught with a crack bag go longer than that. Right. Who bailed him out? Cornelius Vanderbilt. Why would Vanderbilt bail out Jefferson Davis? He was not pro-South. Oh, they wanted those railroads. They wanted access to those southern markets. They were willing to have black people as sacrificial lambs, as they would be subject for 50 years, every 2.5 days, some precious black child or woman or man hanging from some lynching tree, that strange fruit that southern trees bear that the inimitable Billie Holiday sang about and the Jewish brother Maripol wrote the lyrics of. 50 years, that kind of terrorism. And people say, oh, America, city on the hill, beacon of liberty, last hope of humanity. Well, critical race theory says, we can understand the formulations from your vantage point, but if you look through our eyes, you're going to see something different. You're going to see something very different. Definitely. But you see, but we had to, what we realized, though, is that no one set of lens has the full truth. That's the challenge. That's why you have to have the dialogue. That's what education's about.
Why are we so afraid of it?
Well, I mean, you're not afraid of it, and I'm not, but we got a lot of brothers and sisters who hasn't got the same memos we got. Because for them, you know, they see a demographic shift. Oh, my God, these brown folk, these Asians, these black folk, they coming in, they're replacing me. My country is being lost. We need to go back to some kind of greatness. And then here come the gangster Trump himself with his red hat. And I've known Trump for 35 years. He was a gangster then, he's a gangster now. He come running in. Oh, I know. We're going to make America great again. Oh, really? Your precious mama just got off the boat from Scotland. I want her here. But if she followed you, your father came from another European country. Just got here. I've been here 12 generations. Since when did you become the definitive authority as to who's American or not? Come on, Brother Trump. Come on, Brother Trump. You know you just playing a reality game, but it's very, 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 very dangerous because we about to lose what's left of American democracy. This is what it is to deal with neo-fascist escalation. And people say, America can't go fascist. We're on automatic toward a perfect union. Get off the symbolic crack pipe, please. I mean, we got this, when you remember Brother Obama gave a speech in Boston that made him famous. America is a magical place. I said, this brother's gonna have a Christopher Columbus experience. Ain't nothing magical about America. America is democratic and free to the degree that every generation tries to keep it so and through blood, sweat, and tears fights to make it so. Hey, that's not magic at all. You can lose it. You can lose it. Well, see, but a lot of new voluntary immigrants just get here. Hit the ground running. Oh my God, all these opportunities and things, and I'm so glad to get away from the repression and what have you. I said, is George Washington your founding? Yes, he is. I'm so glad he found it. If he's your founding father, then the good stuff that you like, you have access to. But the slavery, the evils, that's part of your country too. You say, well, I wasn't here. None of my folk had slaves. Oh. If you arrived in 1945, which part of the Jim Crow bus did you go to? You arrived December 44. Go to Georgia, you walk right up in the front, and the black folk in the back. But my folk didn't have any slaves. You're benefiting because of your white skin privilege. You can still become a person of integrity and honesty and decency. That's a moral and spiritual choice. That's open to all of us. But don't act as if you can come into a nation so shaped by white supremacy and not have white skin privilege. When it's time to move out into the vanilla suburbs, you don't have to worry about that covenant that says that black folk can get out there. They don't ask you, which year did your boat arrive? You see, it could have been 1619, that Mayflower, Malcolm used to say, that rock that landed on indigenous peoples, that rock that landed on African peoples, you see. So in that way, critical race theory is simply saying, please try not to be so fearful of the truth because the efficacy of lies is short term. And truth crushed the earth shall rise again. And when chickens start coming home to roost, you've got to be ready. And if all you have is a little thin armor of mendacity that's been hiding some criminality, either you're a candidate for the neo-fascism, you see, or you can come to Point Loma Nazarene University.
And what happens then, Cornel?
You got two things. You got two things when you come here. One thing is, if you have anything to do with the Church of the Nazarene, you're going to be washed with the blood of the cross that allows you to learn how to die daily so you can emerge a new being full of a love you don't fully understand, but touched you so deep that you're willing to be a force for the kingdom.
Oh, my.
You see. And the second thing is, based on that rich legacy of Jerusalem, you're going to be tied to those R-O-O-T-S, those roots. But it will enable you to have R-O-U-T-E-S, the routes that can take you to every corner of the world, and you're in conversation with a Gandhi who's a Hindu, a Bell Hooks who's a Buddhist, a dialogue with a Marxist who is atheistic but concerned about poor people, and you're concerned about poor people in the name of Jesus. It'll allow you to read novels and poems and so forth that will rock your world. Rock your world. Turn you inside out.